You are the best of me, darling. You are the best of me, darling.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna tell you my experience in going back to the Philippines before the quarantine on Manila set in. A little bit of history first. Me and my partner were planning to get married on April, so we booked a flight before on March 22. When we arrived home on March 12, we found out that President Duterte is gonna have a press conference. And then we found out that on March 15 to April 14, he will lock down Manila, or he will put a community quarantine on Manila so that the spreading of the virus of nCoV will be limited. So what does this mean? It means there will be no flights going from and to Manila domestically. However, there are still those going internationally. So, is this a bad thing? Well, for me, it was because we are not from Manila. We are from another province. So, what did we do? My partner suggested we should go and rebook our flight. So, that we did. We rebooked on March 13, going home to the Philippines. Now, that is the day after. So, as you can expect, I didn't have much sleep the day before because we had to unpack so much things that we were going to bring home to the Philippines. We slept around 3 hours and then we woke up early, got to the bus station, and went to Bangkok. Usually, our bus rides are about 2 to 3 hours, but I don't know what happened because the bus driver was flying like an airplane pilot. We got in Bangkok in just 1 hour. So, what did we experience when we board MRT? Well, there was little people, but that's understandable because it was early morning. Then when we transferred to the BTS going to Suvarnabhumi Airport, there were a lot of foreigners and a lot of them were wearing face masks. And fondly enough, because we weren't speaking English inside the train, some of them were looking at us, at me, because some people say my eyes look Asian. So they might be thinking that we were Chinese or anything. So they were looking at us, to put it normally. When we got to Suvarnabhumi Airport, contrary to what other people are posting, there are still people traveling during that time. It's true that there are some areas that there are no passengers, but that's simply because those areas, the flights have been canceled or haven't been opened yet. So when we got to Suvarnabhumi, I found it amazing because before we boarded our plane, we had to pass three separate thermal detectors. The first and the last being a gun that checks our thermal temperature, and the second one is when we go to a whole thermal pod or something, and then we raise our hands and they check our normal body temperature. It's actually pretty amazing. So, what happened? We got to the plane. Our flight was scheduled on the 10th. So we got around 3 or 4 in the afternoon in the Philippines. And when we got to Naiya, oddly enough, there was little people. But from what I saw in the previous post in Facebook, during those times, there were a lot of people going to the Cebu Pacific and PAL booking stations and just having direct contact with each other because they wanted to go home or wanted to go away from Manila during that time. During that time too, we were a little bit scared because I was thinking that maybe President Duterte will just say, oh no, I will move it from March 15 to March 13 or 14 so that it could be stopped or the virus will be stopped right away. But thankfully it wasn't. We waited for an hour and a half for our flight to go back to our area. Now, our flights in our area was really full. It was very packed. Now, how do I talk about the situation in Manila in the airport. When we came in, it was pretty normal. A lot less traffic of people. A lot of people were wearing gas masks. And a lot of people were complaining because they had to go home early because they didn't want to stay in Manila during the lockdown period. So we got on our flight. We got home around 6 or 7 in the evening and we got to our houses and slept. In the morning, our barangay health workers came to us and listed us as persons under investigation. And this is entirely normal for all the people that came from other countries. Regardless if you have history of nCoV or not, they will put you under temporary 14-day quarantine. That doesn't mean that they're going to put you in the hospital. For us, they put us inside our houses and told us not to go out for 14 days. And then they will check up on us on the 14th day, or we will message them if there are some signs or symptoms that we are getting sick, so that they can check us for nCoV. I think this is a very good idea. The sad part is I don't think that all people would be staying at home. I have a feeling that some people would think that they don't have any virus and they would just go out and just meet their friends, some of their family members, but not for us. We decided that we would stay 14 days in our homes. And that's actually a good thing because we got home early, so we have a lot of time to wait so that when we are cleared, we can go and start our preparations for our wedding. So that's what happened when I went to the Philippines, despite there being a possible quarantine on Manila for 1 whole month. Now, what I'm doing? I'm staying home. I'm waiting for my 14-day period to come up. I'm not going near some of my family just to make sure that if I ever have any viruses that is not showing any symptoms, I would not be able to infect them. Because I'm not really afraid for me. I'm afraid for my mother and father because they're older and the virus tends to pick older people. Now, what I hope will happen is that in the April 14, President Duterte would find that the virus contagion speed would be greatly decreased and would allow some flights to go back to Manila so that we can go back to Thailand on April 26. But I'm also thinking that he might extend the period. So as of now, we're just listening to our government and just staying home. To wrap things up, to those who also went home during the outbreak or the community quarantine, please listen to the government. Please, if you do not like the government or if you love our government, set that aside and just do what is needed. Because this pandemic is more than just you and your view of the government. This is for the Filipino people. Please just stay home. Wash your hands always. Do not buy too much food and water. Save some for other people. Do not buy too much alcohol because when you're just staying home, you don't really need much alcohol. You can just wash your hands and your face. So please just stay home and listen, and I hope for the best for all of us, not just the Filipino, but all of the world. This is the Curious Transient signing off.
You are